Hi YouTube, it's DrunkMonk74 here, and I'll just bring you a quick video, and it's just going to really briefly cover the DLC, and in particular the map that I'm playing right now, which is Darra Gun Market, and the buddy system. And I know I've posted up a video in the past about playing with random buddies, and you know, I posted one where the guy was absolutely woeful and I was a bit annoyed about it, let's put it that way. I thought it'd be nice to balance it out by posting this up, because I ended up playing this match, and I ended up squadded up with this guy. His online name is DAKJN. I'm not sure how you pronounce that, but I had a look on Battlelog, and it looks like he's German, and his clan is BME. And I think there was a couple of other guys from his clan on in this match, and so he unfortunately couldn't squad up with him. I don't think there was enough of them, so he ended up stuck with me. And I'm kind of happy he was, because it worked out really nice. But I'll come back to it. I'll come back to the whole random buddies and him being a decent player, and what made him a decent player. But first off, let's start off with this map and the map pack that's been released. So the map pack's been out for a while. I haven't really posted anything up about it, about the maps and everything, mainly because the biggest problem I'm having with these maps since they was released is whenever I play them, I really do suffer frame rate loss on the servers, and it's a bit of a pain because the maps themselves I think are really nice. They really are nice compared to the standard maps that were released when the game came out. These maps are obviously larger, as anyone who's played them will be able to tell you. But they're also, in a lot of instances, although they're larger, a lot of the gun battles you have will still be in close quarters. Because especially, like, for example, this map in particular, Darra Gun Market, which just so you know, is probably out of the two is probably my favourite. I mean, the other one, Chitral or I'm not sure how you pronounce it, Compound, that's a nighttime map, and with the frame rate losses that I seem to suffer, I play on PS3. It just makes it that little bit more of a pain in the butt to play, because generally by the time you spot someone, they're already on you, and they're probably even fired a couple of rounds at you, and so it's just proven a royal pain for me. So for that reason, that's one of the reasons I prefer this map. But the main reason I prefer this map is just the layout. It's such a so different. All the areas are like really nice and different, and you got there's one particular area on this map where I think it's you got buildings either side of like a ravine or something like that, and it's a totally unique sort of environment that I've not really played in any other first-person shooter. It's such a well thought out and nice map to play, and I can't get enough of playing these maps. They are really good. So if you haven't got them already, and you got the limited edition version of the game, I would highly recommend you just download them. You can download them for free if you've got limited edition version of the game, and that they will be worth it. I'd struggle to recommend them for anyone who would have to pay for them. I think they're $9.99 or whatever that is in your currency, if you don't have the limited edition version of the game. And the only reason I say that is because although the patch has come out, there has been a patch for this game now, not the day one patch, but in December there was a new patch released for this game, and although it's come out, there are three things which still are major game breakers, basically, for me anyway. I really think that's important that they fix them, and that's one is VoIP, two is the lobby system. It's still really hard to stay with your buddy, and three would be that frame rate loss, the laggy servers. Those three things desperately still need fixing, in my opinion. So if you haven't bought the limited edition version of the game, I would honestly struggle. I couldn't really put my hand on my heart and say, yeah, you know what, go on, spend the extra few bob and to buy the the map pack. I just couldn't do it. You know, it's at the moment with those issues. I think, you know, if you've got the game, carry on playing it, but you know, don't invest any more money in it until, you know, EA and basically EA have shown that they're willing to invest a little bit more money in it, because to be honest, it does need a little bit more money. So EA, if you're watching, or anyone else is watching from EA, that's all I can say. You know, you're asking people to spend some more money on the game. I think you need to spend a bit more money on the game, just to fix this, and let DC Danger Close complete what they started, because they have started something like really good here, and you've made it really difficult for them to finish off this game. So hopefully they will do that, and we will have a really good game. One that if they fix those three things, I can see myself playing for a really long time. You know, well into next year, I can see myself playing this. But that's all dependent on any new DLCs or patches, or sorry, not DLCs, patches coming out to fix the current issues with the game. But yeah, no, going back to the map, you know, much larger than the standard maps, these ones, and you know they've got some quite a few more vertical areas. You know, nothing that different from what the original maps had. There just seems to be more of them. The main difference with these games is that, or these maps, sorry, is that they're wider, and all that allows you much more room to manoeuvre and to flank and to get around the enemy. You know, and it is so nice. If you're like me, you know, you like to move around quite a bit, as I do. It's a real pleasure to play these maps. You know, you still have to check your corners. Don't get me wrong. You know, if you're just running around like a headless noob, you're still not gonna have fun with this game. And for anyone who's struggling with this game, the first thing I would say to them is check your play style. Check how you play games, because that right there is a great example of how not to play this game. You know, I still do that. I've still got, you know, I've been playing BF3 for well over a year now, since it first came out, and I've still got some of those bad habits from BF3. You know, I still expect to be able to go running around a corner and to get my scope up quick and to get a few kills and stuff. You know, hip fire in this game is woeful, so don't even bother trying that at any sort of range. And I'm literally mean at any sort of range, unless the person is right there in front of you, close enough to kiss, more or less. Hip fire will be more or less useless. And you got to keep checking your corners, you know, all the time. Check your corners. It's one of the things they've tried to introduce with this game, and it might be one of the things that people dislike so much, because it does slow you down. It does slow your gameplay style down, and you have to slow it down if you want to be successful. I mean, you could play this game, you could try and play this game how you would play, you know, BF3 or a COD title or whatever, but you'd constantly get, you know, shot in the face, and before you know it, you're just going to be hacked off, pissed off, and you're just not going to want to play the game no more. But that's not what this game's about. It's not about playing that. It's got its own totally unique style and system of play. It's, you know, you've got the buddy system, you've got the cover system, you've got the slide to cover, you've got the peek and lean. These are all things that they've introduced to try and, you know, make this game a tactical, team-based, first-person shooter. And in my opinion, they've succeeded. Where they failed is that, due to EA making some very last-minute changes, and I'm talking, from what I've read, I'm talking, you know, 2-3 months before release, they made some major changes, or forced some major changes on DC, and they haven't had the chance to fully get those changes integrated and set up, and the mechanics working exactly how they should. So, you know, other than that, what Danger Close have put together here is nothing short of a great game, in my opinion. And I hope they get given a chance to complete it. But you know, as you can see, there's lots of room for snipers. You know, you can snipe quite comfortably on these maps. The problem you're going to have is that, due to the size and due to the sheer layout of this, you know, this particular area here, you know, if you're a sniper if you're sitting back in one particular area, even if you've got, you know, a PDM down somewhere, if someone spots it, which they are not that hard to spot, you know, they can get rid of that, and then they've got you. grenade lands too close to that, you can get rid of it, and then you're fully exposed. So a lot of people say, oh, there's snipers all over the place in these maps, and yes there are, but the way these maps are laid out, the way that you can flank them, the way you can use the buildings as cover to move, it would be very hard for snipers to spot everyone who's moving around like that. So I don't think you've got to worry about it too much. Just enjoy it, and learn the maps, learn the routes you should take, and try and learn where where the little nests are, where the little sniper nests are. Even I saw a video from one of the developers, and he openly said, we've deliberately put in some sniper nests, and that's fair enough. Sniping is part of the game, so it's there. But they haven't made it so difficult that you can't get anywhere near them. It's easy enough to get close enough to them and take them out. So it just all adds to the enjoyment of the game. So just get used to it and work out a strategy to counter it. But overall, I can't fault these maps. I think they're really, really nicely designed, well thought out. People who complain about the graphics in this game, I don't know what they're talking about. I don't think there's that much of an issue with the graphics. Yeah, it's not as pretty as BF3, but it hasn't, for me personally, it hasn't suffered quite the same issues that BF3 did for me, which was a major issue, which was input lag. I mean, I had to play up until recently, and when I say recently, I mean November's patch that came out on BF3. I've been playing BF3 on the PlayStation 3 at 576 resolution, because anything higher and I was suffering major input lag. So to me, to be honest, only recently have I noticed the quality of the graphics in BF3. So it hasn't made that much of a difference to me. So anyway, that's the first part of the video, and the second part of the video was the buddy system, or well, in particular, random buddies. And as I was saying, this guy I'm playing with, DAKJN, I honestly don't know how I don't know whether that's actually a word in German or whether it's just some initials he's put together to create a username. But whatever. Anyway, it was such a pleasure playing with this guy, and it was only made even more glaringly obvious how much of a difference a decent buddy can make. Because after this game he left, and I ended up playing a few rounds with another guy who was completely random, a sniper who he was just sat back miles from objective, and I mean so far from objective. It was, if I chose fallback as my option rather than spawn and buddy, I'd generally end up closer to the objective than I would if I spawned on that guy. That's how far back he was sitting from the objective, and and not surprisingly, we weren't winning many of those matches, because if when you're playing an objective based game, if you're not playing the objective, you're going to lose. It's as simple as that. And I've completed a fair few tours as a sniper now in this game, and I've always tried to play the objective. And if you're not doing that, you're not going to really help your team. And I can understand why people hate on snipers sometimes, if they're just doing that. They're just sitting back and just worrying about either the headshots they get, their KD, whatever the hell it is they're worrying about. If they're worried about anything other than the objective, then they're not going to be a very great team. They're not going to be great team players, basically. And of course people are going to get hacked off with that. There's a reason people play this game. It's because it's a team-based game. Team. Play as a team member. Back up your team. And backing up your team don't mean sitting miles away from the objective, just trying to get your headshots and trying to get a few kills from distance. That's not being a team player. I'm sorry. If you wanna sit back a bit further, sit back a bit further. At least have eyes on the bomb site or whatever it is. So you're covering it. Wait for your teammates to arm it. If you're not getting in that close, and cover it and make sure no one defuses the bomb. Or you can arm it yourself. You've got a machine pistol, but and that thing is murderous in close quarters. That machine pistol really is murderous in close quarters. So there's no reason you can't move in and arm those bombs and stuff. But sorry, going a bit off topic here from the buddy. So we was playing with this guy, and it was just a real pleasure playing with him, because you know, when we first started out, it was fairly obvious we had two fairly different play styles. You know, I moved around a little bit more than he did, but you know, I'm not saying that was good, because he ended up with a slightly higher score than me, so maybe, you know, I could learn something from that and slow down a bit instead of moving around quite so much. But I'm struggling with that. I think I always will. I just enjoy engagements. I go looking for them. So it's just my play style, you know, and it's just how I enjoy playing. But you know, a lot of times it doesn't do me too bad. But maybe I do need to slow down. But so at the start, you know, obviously a complete random guy. I didn't know how he liked playing, what his play style was, how he liked to move around maps or anything like that. So yeah, it was a bit strange at first. We didn't really stick together and stuff. But then I think after a bit, we kind of got a little bit more used to how we were playing. He kind of got used to how I was moving around a map. Excuse me, sorry, I was in the middle of burping there. I kind of got used to how he was moving around a map, and you know, it became, you know, even though we couldn't communicate, and you know, that's not just because VoIP doesn't work. I'm fairly sure, you know, well, my German is non-existent, so even if VoIP worked, I'm fairly sure we would have struggled to communicate properly. But you know, we did try and stick a little bit close together. You know, I think we both came to some sort of understanding on you know, how we were going to move around maps. You know, he liked to push up, play the objective, as we are right now. He's right on the 6. I can see that on the mini map, and I'm pushing right up here because the objective's now changed. You know, we're moving together. You know, he's healing me. If he dies, I'd try and spawn on him, and as soon as I come in, I'd press the square to heal him up, and vice versa. He'd do exactly the same thing for me, and it was a real pleasure. And you know, I don't always stick with him, and he didn't always stick with me, but we were never that far apart in the end. By the end of this match, and that was mainly because I think, like, even when we was apart, if he went down, say, the left hand side of some building, I'd go down the right, just to see, you know, if we could, like, flank the enemy somehow from both sides, and also protect ourselves from being flanked. So it was it did really start working out well for us, you know, and we did stick together, you know, like right here we were still moving together. He takes a couple of rounds there, and I finished that guy off there for him so he can spawn in again. I just sit here waiting. I can see that he's waiting to spawn in on me, so I just try and stay safe, wait for him to come in. He's in now, so now I poke my head around and see if I can see anyone. And that's kind of like the sort of way we got to play in the end. That's how we started playing, and it was just so nice, because I didn't expect it, and I wasn't going to post this video at all until after this match. I started, he left, and I was squadded up with or buddied up with another random, and it was such a glaring difference in play styles and mentality. It really was, and I thought, you know what, you know, this has annoyed the crap out of me so much. I'm just going to post up here, you know, why I think this guy is really good, buddy, and what the differences is, and what difference it can make. And I also thought it'd be quite nice, because I have posted before about buddies not being great, and you know, randoms, you know, there being some me playing with a random, and it was, you know, a really nasty experience, because he had zero idea about teamwork and team play and tactical play. But you know, again, right here, we're quite close to each other. I can see the guy who's taking him out. I can get rid of him real quick, and there's nothing I can do there for I just run into trouble. But again, you know, that's me. I just forgot to check my corners, and I get punished for it. And that's the beauty of this game. That's what makes this game so enjoyable. It's why I keep coming back to play this game. Is that, you know, generally, when you die, it's not because you know, it's not basically for any other reason than you've messed up. You've made a mistake somewhere. You haven't checked the corner. You've wandered too far from your buddy. You haven't gone into cover when you're reloading. You haven't used your grenades. You haven't used you haven't used the specializations that you got. Something it's generally speaking, you're gonna have made a mistake to have died. Like right here, I'm running around that corner. I'm charging around it. I'm not going around it scoped up, looking down the sights, trying to find who's around there. And I know there was people around there, but just a bit too keen. Anyway, that's me done. I'm out of here. I'll catch you next time. Cheers.
Na Nils, nette Runde von dir, Alter, muss ich schon sagen.
Ja, Mann, am Anfang ging es echt ab.
23:14 geht mir klar.
Oh, danke, ich glaube, das ist meine beste.